by recapping the yesterday's class. Let's go into the discussion. Okay, the topic is operations levels in virtualization. Okay, operational levels in virtualization. Here there are five levels are there. The first one and second one I already discussed. Okay, today I'm going to recap that one, and I will go to the third level also. Okay, instruction set architecture, that is the level 1. The next one is hardware level, level 2, operating system level, that is level 3, and library support level, level 4, application level, level 5. Okay, let us go into the first one. Okay, before that let us explain this one. Just uh, the levels with their examples. Okay, instruction set architecture level, for that examples are these things. Okay, Bosch, Crusoe, Humo. Okay, all these are examples. Coming to the hardware abstraction level, these are the examples: VMware, virtual PC, and so on. Operating system level. Okay, this is the middle level. Okay, level 3. Okay, for that examples are jail, virtual environment, and so on. Level 4, that is library level, or we can say that user level, API level, both are same. For that, the examples are Wine, Wabi, like that. Okay, the level 4 is related to the running the program and you're not writing the program. Okay, that will comes under application level. Okay, for example for this one are JVM, Java Virtual Machine, .NET, CLR. Okay, Panot. All these are the examples for application level. Let us recap this one. Instruction set architecture level. Okay, this is the level 1, guys. Okay, before going to discuss about the instruction set architecture, I'm going to explain first instruction set and the emulator. These two things are definition we have to know before going to the discuss about instruction set architecture level. Okay, ISA level also can say that. Okay, instruction set. For suppose I can understand Telugu. Okay, for my instruction, I can order what type of instructions I can know is only Telugu instructions, and English I can understand like that. Likewise, each and every processor will have separate instruction set. Okay, one processor instruction set is different from another processor. Okay, okay, if I write the program with the help of one instruction set, okay, if I take that one to another processor, if I execute it in that one, means it won't execute, guys. Okay, it won't execute. Okay, one processor instruction set is different from another processor. Okay, right? Okay, next one is emulator. For suppose I cannot understand Hindi. I can I supposed to understand Telugu and English only. For suppose I have met one person. Okay, he know only Hindi. I want to communicate with that person. Okay, then what I have to do is I have to go for the translator. What is the translator task is? Okay, whatever the instruction that is received from me, the translator will translate it to, okay, Hindi to that Hindi person. Okay, another task is that emulator is translator is he received the information from the Hindi person. Okay, he translated to Telugu to me. In this way the communication will go, sir. Likewise, emulator is also the same thing. Okay, emulator is also the same thing. Okay, here uh, uh, for suppose I'm writing a program in my system. Okay, my system is called as guest machine. Okay, I want to execute my program that is written in my guest machine on host machine. That host machine will be in the cloud. Okay, here I'm writing only the instructions here. Okay, the program is executed on the cloud, another machine, that we call them as a host machine. Okay, the emulator task is to convert the guest instruction set to host instruction set. Why? Because the program is executed in the host side, not in the guest side. Okay, that is the emulator task. What is the emulator task? Receives the instruction from the guest machine and converts to native instruction set where it is run on host machine. Host will be in the other side where the instruction that is wrote in the guest machine will be executed in the host machine. That is why we have to convert the emulator task. Okay, coming to the main picture, let us go for the instruction set architecture level, guys. Just nothing is there here. Okay, if you understand those things, means it will be a simple thing. Okay, instruction set virtualization is a processor virtualization. Here it enables emulator of the instruction set of one processor to another processor. Okay, the same, if you understand the emulator means you can easily understand this one. Okay, we will write the programs in the guest machine that will be transferred, that will be went to the host machine where it will be executed. The emulator task is like that: instruction set of one processor to another processor. It will emulate means it will convert, okay, instruction set of one processor to the another processor. Why it is converting, guys? That each and every processor will have separate instruction set. Okay, here I am writing instruction set on the guest machine, that is cannot be understood at the host machine. That is why emulator is needed to convert from guest machine instruction set to host machine instruction, that you can easily understand the host machine, that instruction set. Okay, because the emulator is already converted that one. Okay, then there it will execute. This is the level 1. Next one is hardware level, guys. Hardware level. Here what we will do is we will generate the virtual hardware. Okay, on the top of the bare hardware, we call them as a physical hardware. Okay, on the top of the physical hardware, we are going to create a virtual hardware. Okay, why? Because virtual hardware is used for the virtual machines. Okay, virtual machine. In hardware level, we are going to create a virtual machine. How we will create the virtual machine, guys? On the top of the physical hardware or bare hardware, we are going to create a virtual hardware. We are going to generate a virtual hardware. Okay, okay, right. Next one is we are able to manage this hardware through virtualization. We are able to manage this hardware, virtual hardware, with the help of this virtualization. Okay, guys, in virtualization, what are the components we are going to virtualize? It's like hardware resources like processor, memory, IO devices. Okay, what is the purpose of this one is utilization. The main purpose is to utilization rate we can increase, guys. Okay, previously example is already I told you, guys. Three servers are there. Okay, one is for second year, third year for another, fourth year for another one. Okay, if you replace all the three things with one server, means with the help of virtualization, means the cost will be reduced and utilization is also increased, guys. Utilization is also increased. In this way, we are going to increase the hardware utilization. Okay, in this way we can increase the hardware utilization rate. Hardware utilization rate, right? The next one is no one works the newer thing, that is operating system level virtualization. This is the middle layer, third level, guys. Okay, in operating system virtualization, guys, we are going to virtualize the servers. We are going to virtualize the server virtualization happen in the this operating system level. Operating system level, guys. Here the kernel plays a main role, guys. What is the importance of the kernel, guys? Here the kernel, okay, it has a, normally what is a kernel, guys? It's a complete control over the everything in the system. It has a complete control over the everything in the system. Okay, and it allows multiple isolated user space instances instead of normally one. Okay, normally, guys, each and every system will have only one isolated user space, only one isolated normal space, user space, normal systems. But with the help of this user level virtualization, guys, we are able to virtualize these servers. Okay, and where the kernel plays an important role by controlling the system, by allowing a multiple isolated user space instances, multiple isolated user space instances. These instances we call them as a container. These instances we call them as a container, guys. Okay, guys. Okay, in this user level virtualization, what we are going to do, we are going to create multiple isolated user space containers. Okay, or instances. These instances we call them as a container. Okay, let us discuss this one in the diagrammatical manner also, that we can be easily understand. Okay, this is the diagram, guys, the last one, guys. If you observe this one, okay, this is the bare hardware, this is the bare hardware, physical hardware. On the top of that one, what we have? We have a hypervisor. What we have? We have a hypervisor. Hypervisor task is to, it's like a virtual machine monitor. It will monitor the virtual machines. It monitor the virtual machines. Here two OSs are there. Normally only one operating system. If you observe this diagram, okay, on the top of the physical, okay, only one operating system will be, we can place it. But with the hypervisor, we are going to create multiple operating systems. We are going to create multiple operating. Here two OSs will be created. One is called, these will be called them as a guest operating systems. These will be called as a guest operating systems. Okay, right, right. Okay, here two containers I have created. Okay, if you observe this container, guys, okay, this is a isolated instance. Isolated instance means, okay, for each and every container they will have the separate devices they can access. This container will have the separate devices or resources it can access. Likewise, this container also can access different separate devices or resources it can access. Likewise, okay, each and every container will have a separate devices that can access. Okay, this is the explanation for that one. Okay, creating virtual hosting environment to allocate the Azure resources among the large number of users. Okay, with the help of this one virtual hosting environment, it allows hardware resources allocation of large number of hardware resources among the different number of large number of users. We can achieve with the help of this one. Okay, OS level virtualization. Normally we can create a virtual hosting environments. With the help of this one, we are able to allocate hardware resources among the large number of users. With the help of this one, we are able to allocate multiple hardware resources among the number of different users, guys. Right? Okay. Normally, guys, for normal systems, okay, the computer program can run ordinary. Okay, normal system, guys, normal system can access the all the resources like files, folders, networking, CPU. Okay, normally it will have the access to all the resources for normal computer, ordinary computer. But if you come into this one, running a programs inside a container, okay, running a programs inside a container, it will have assigned a separate devices. It will have assigned with a different separate devices. Okay, normal computer will have the access to all the resources like the files, folders, CPU. Okay, all these things will have normally normal operating system. But coming to this container, okay, the programs running on the container will have separate devices. It can access separate devices. It can access one container will access some number of devices. Another container will have access to some number of devices. Okay, with the help of mainly in this OS level, okay, we are able to create multiple containers. Okay, these container will have a separate devices they can access. Separate devices they can access. This is the diagram for this one, guys. What is a container? Okay, this container will have separate access to some number of devices, and this container will have separate access to some number of devices. Likewise, okay, the main in this operating system level virtualization, we are able to create these multiple containers. Okay, this multiple what is a container, guys? Isolated user spaces instances. These we call them as, okay, isolated user space instances. This is one user space instance, and this is one user space instance, and this is one user space instance, and this is one user space instances. Okay, these will have a separate access to the number of devices. Okay, these for suppose this will have a access to one printer, and this will have a access to scanner, this will have a access to file system, this will have a access to another thing. Likewise, they will have a separate access for the devices. For normally system will have the access to all the things. Normal, for suppose if you take this operating system, okay, this is installed on the bare metal server. Okay, this operating system will have the access to all the devices like printer, scanner, anything. Okay, but here this container will have only access to the some number of devices. Only access have some number of devices, guys. Clear, guys? Okay, write down this diagram, guys. Okay, once again, guys, the system calls. Okay, the next level is library support level. Okay, here the system calls, those are lengthy and cumbersome. Okay, that means the cumbersome means large and heavy. These are system calls. A system call is nothing but a service from getting from the operating system. It's a heart. Okay, then next, these are replaced with APIs. Okay, application program interfaces. Okay, this API is also having a some disadvantage. It won't have proper documentation. That is why that is replaced with a library level virtualization. Okay, in that what we will do is, okay, in that we will see in the next slide. Okay, in that what we will do is library virtualization. We are going to use API hooks. I told you guys previously, in APIs there is no proper flow control is there. Okay, this no proper flow control can be eliminated here. With the help of API hooks, we are able to control this. Okay, control the API flow by establishing a communication link from the system to application. There is a communication between the system and the application. In this way, they are able to control the API flow. How the flow is. Okay, if there is a connection between the system and the application, means they are able to control that flow, API flow. Okay, there are different tools are available for this one, like vCUDA and Wine are different okay tools related to library support level. First, system call replaced with API having some disadvantage, that is replaced with the API hooks, that we call them as library virtualization. Okay, okay, for that what they will do is they made a communication link from the system and the application. Okay, examples, the tools for that one is vCUDA and Wine. Okay guys, clear? Library support level. Let us go for the top level, that is level 5, application level. Okay, application level, here we are going to concentrate on writing the programs. Okay, in application level we are going to concentrate on writing a programs, guys. Okay, like here we will see the different environments for writing the programs, like JVM, CLR. Okay, all these things we are going to see in this application level. Here we are going to use this IO map and memory map. Okay, we are going to use different mapping also, that is IO map and memory map also. Okay, here the program writing and how it's running also, we are going to concentrate here, like writing a programs at high level. Okay, and the application level virtualization, and how it is compiled, how it runs fluently, we are going to concentrate in this application level, guys. Writing the program, okay, and compiling, and how it runs fluently, all these things will be taken care in the application level, guys. And CLR means it's a program writing environment, like it's like a JVM, CLR, like that. Okay, excuse the environment for that one. Okay, writing the program, compiling and executing, all this will comes under application level. Okay, next coming to the advantages, guys. Okay, what is the advantages of normally virtualization, guys? Okay, minimal startup and shutdown costs. Minimal startup and shutdown costs. Okay, low resource requirements. Okay, if you went for the virtualization means, okay, all these things, resource, all these things is taken care by third party cloud provider. Okay, and moreover that it's scalable. Okay, dynamic scalable. Whenever you want to increase the resources, you are going to, we are able to increase those resources dynamically. Okay, at any point we can increase the resources dynamically. And minimal startup and shutdown costs. Minimal startup and shutdown costs. I told you guys, if you went for the virtualization guys, okay, they will maintain the duplicate contents in different location. If one thing is shut down means it will be connected to the another server. Okay, the application will be active at any point of time because of this duplicateness in the cloud. Okay, but if you maintain by you means, okay, you have to spend double the amount what you are spending now for duplicating the content. For suppose you have established one data center in Yeluru. Okay, you want to duplicate that one. Okay, you want to place that one in the Chennai. Okay, the same amount you have, what you have spent in the Yeluru, that same amount you have to spend in the Chennai, means cost will be double. But if you went for the cloud means that will be reduced with the help of virtualization. Okay, and the next one is host and virtual machine has to synchronize the changes. For suppose host means that will be in the cloud side and virtual machine side. Okay, uh, okay, virtual machine and host, they have to sync. The one is at another one location and another will be at another location. Whatever the content that is that has to be updated here, that will be updated in the cloud location or virtualized location also. Okay, there should be synchronize. Okay, whatever the content you have uploaded here, that will be uploaded in the there also. That it must be a sync between the both of them. Sync between the both of them, guys. And here, if okay, the main advantage is cost is reduced, guys, and resource utilization is also increased. Cost is reduced. Okay, okay. We can reduce the cost by going for the virtualization. Okay, like for suppose three servers are there, three servers are replaced with one server with the help of virtualization, means cost will be reduced. Okay, the three services task will be done by only one server now. The cost will be reduced as well as power saving will be there. Okay, and maintenance also reduced. All the things will be happening. Likewise, resource utilization. Okay, resource. Okay, in virtualization, guys, one resource will be used by number of users. One resource will be used by number of users. For suppose the one physical hardware, on the top of that I am able to create multiple virtual machines, have multiple virtual machines, all will be used by this physical hardware. Okay, that way the resource utilization will be increased. All these are the advantages. Okay, all these are the advantages. These are the implementation levels. Okay, these are the implementation levels related to the virtualization. Okay, okay, let us going to the next topic, guys. Okay, that is the second one, virtualization structure, tools and mechanisms. Virtualization tools and structure and mechanisms. Let us discuss this one, virtualization structure, tools and mechanism. Previous one is implementation levels related to virtualization, the now is structure and mechanisms. Let us go for the discussion related to this one. Okay, okay, guys, before virtualization, this point already told. Before virtualization, operating system manages hardware. This point we already know. Okay, there is a link between the hardware and operating system. On the top of the hardware, we have installed this operating system. Okay, and the operating system will run the application by using this hardware. Operating system runs the application by using this hardware. Okay, but after the virtualization, guys, there is a separate layer is placed in between the operating system and hardware. That layer we call them as a virtual layer. What we call that is a virtual layer. Okay, in between the hardware and operating system, one layer is inserted, that is virtual layer. Okay, what is the virtual layer, guys? It will converts the real hardware into virtual hardware, real hardware into virtual hardware. Okay, this point is already explained to you guys. Okay, with the help of this virtual layer, or we can say that this virtual layer is hypervisor. Okay, by using this hypervisor, what I am going to do is, okay, I'm going to this virtual hardware, physical hardware, I am converting into logical hardware. Okay, on the top of that one, I am going to place multiple operating systems on the top of that one, physical hardware. Okay, by using the physical hardware, uh, with the help of this virtualization layer, I am going to create logical hardware, virtual hardware. We call them as a virtual hardware. On the top of that one, we are able to create multiple operating systems. One is for Windows, one is for Linux, one is for Ubuntu. Like that, I can. Okay, the virtual layer. The importance is converting the real hardware or physical hardware into virtual hardware. Virtual hardware means not existing hardware, but that will be run on the top of this real hardware, physical hardware. Okay, guys, I told you now, right? By the help of this virtualization layer, I'm going to install different operating systems. Okay, like I can install Linux operating system, I can install Windows operating system on the same physical hardware. How I am able to do with the help of the virtualization layer. Okay, I am creating the physical hardware into logical hardware. On the top of that one logical hardware, I am going to install one operating system Linux. On the top of the another logical hardware, I am going to install Windows. Likewise, I can run multiple operating system at simultaneous. Okay, right? Okay, depending upon the position of the virtualization layer, guys. Okay, depending upon the position of the virtualization, where the virtualization layer position. Okay, we are going to classify this VM structure into hypervisor architecture, para virtualization, or host based virtualization. Okay, depending upon the position of the virtualization layer, several classes of VM architectures are come into picture. The first one is hypervisor architecture and para virtualization and host based virtualization. Para virtualization and host based virtualization, guys. Okay, we all know, guys, a hypervisor is a virtual machine monitor. Okay, it monitors the virtual machines as well as it will create a virtual machines. Okay, both virtual machine monitors and hypervisor will have the same set of operations, more or less both are the same. Virtual machine monitor or hypervisor, both are same, guys. The first one discussion is hypervisor. Okay, it allows multiple operating system on the guest. Okay, that will be run on the host machine, and also we call them as a virtual machine monitors. Okay, in that there are two types of hypervisors are there. One is bare metal hypervisor. One is bare metal hypervisor. Okay, another second one is hosted hypervisor. These two are the types of hypervisors. Okay, we are going to discuss these things in the next class. Okay, hypervisor types, bare metal hypervisor, and the next one is hosted hypervisor. Any doubts if you are having, just ask me now.